Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over your peak fall foliage forecast for the United States for the year of 2020. We're going to be going over when you expect your average peak foliage and then whether I expect it to be earlier or later than normal for your area. So let's get right into it here with your average peak foliage, and we're going to uncover what each individual layer indicates here. So here in this kind of darker brown for parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and then parts of the interior Northeast, as well as much of the Rocky Mountains, especially the higher elevation areas, you do expect it on average to be October 10th or earlier in terms of your peak fall foliage. Now, this again is where you expect your peak fall foliage to be October 10th or earlier. This is not when your fall foliage will start. So when your leaves are starting to turn yellow or a light orange, this is when your leaves are in their peak color. So they're showing orange, darker oranges, reds almost, and this is right before they're about to die out and fall off the tree. Now, in this maroon color here, four parts of the Sierra Nevada mountains, four parts of California and western Nevada, as well as parts of the Northwest, and then the areas surrounding the Rockies, as well as parts of the Northern Plains and the Great Lakes, and into parts of the Northeast. You do expect, on average, your peak fall foliage to be between October 10th and October 20th, and this is again your peak fall foliage in anywhere in this maroon color. Now, here in this darkest orange shade, this most vibrant orange, this is where you expect it to be between October 20th and 31st on average in terms of your peak fall foliage. And this is throughout parts of the Northern California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico region, and then up through the plains, and then into parts of the Northern Plains, the Great Lakes, and then for much of the Appalachian Mountain chain, and also into the Mid Atlantic states. This is where you expect your average peak fall foliage to be between October 20th and 31st. Now, in this lighter orange shade, this is for November 1st to 10th when you expect your peak fall foliage. And I do have to note, this is if you will see any fall foliage. So, for example, some areas in Florida and especially in the Gulf Coast region don't really see too much fall foliage, and it really the trees don't really die out too much. So this will be if you on average tend to see fall foliage. So for example, some areas again in the Gulf Coast region don't really see too much fall foliage. So this really doesn't apply to you. So if you do see fall foliage, this is when you will on average see it. So on average, you will see this your peak fall foliage for parts of California, Arizona, New Mexico, parts of western Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, and then throughout parts of the Great Lakes, and then into the areas surrounding the Appalachian Mountains, and then throughout the southeast. This is where you expect your peak fall foliage to be on between November 1st and November 10th. Now, for this lighter orange shade, almost a yellow, this is where you expect your average peak fall foliage to be between November 11th and 20th, and this is for the extreme southern tier of the United States, all the way up until Texas, when it starts to curve northward into the Ozarks, and then all throughout the rest of the southeast, excluding Florida, there, where you expect your average peak fall foliage to be between November 11th and November 20th. Now, here in this lightest yellow shade, this is where you expect, if you actually do end up seeing fall foliage, for it to be between November 20th or some later date, most likely between November 20th and December 1st or so. So that's when you tend to, on average, see your peak fall foliage. And now we're going to go into my forecast as to whether your area will see it earlier or later than what is typical. So let's start off by taking a look here at my fall forecast, and this is from my most recent fall forecast, my second preliminary fall forecast, and this is my temperature anomaly map. I just took it from that fall forecast. So this is the exact same map. If you want to go see the full video, it is out on my channel. You can go find it. And anywhere in those yellow shades for parts of the southwestern corner of the United States, as well as parts of the Great Lakes and the Northeast, this is where I am expecting slightly above average temperatures. And this is, again, for the southwestern corner, and also for the Great Lakes and the Northeast. This is where I'm expecting slightly above normal temperatures. So So in this area, it's most likely not going to be much later than normal, but it will be slightly later than normal. And I'll show you my official forecast in just one moment. Now, here in this orange shade, this is where I'm expecting it to be moderately above normal, and this is going to be for parts of California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, parts of Kansas, and Oklahoma there, where I am expecting it to be moderately above average for the fall time. And then this is again in temperatures, and then for parts of the upper Midwest and also for parts of the Northeast, I am expecting it to again be moderately above average temperatures for the fall time. Now, in the south central and the southeast, this is where I'm expecting slightly below average temperatures for the fall time, and this is again for the southeast and the south central United States in terms of your temperatures. Now let's start talking about when I expect your peak foliage compared to what is typical over much of the western United States from the Rockies westward, and then up through the plains into the Great Lakes and Great Lake region, and then into parts of the Mid Atlantic and the Northeast. I am expecting a later peak foliage compared to normal, just because of those warmer than normal expected temperatures, and just a number of factors. Mainly those temperatures. The warmer the temperatures are, the later it is that you're most likely going to see that fall foliage, and that's mainly the main factor for this forecast. Now, here in the darker brown region, this is where I'm expecting it to be on a factor of about 5 to 10, maybe even more days later than what is typical, and that is throughout parts of California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and then parts of the rest of the Southwest there, and then also for parts of the upper Midwest, the upper Great Lakes, and then into the interior Northeast there. That's where I'm expecting your peak fall foliage to again be between 5 and 10 days later than normal. In that lighter brown, that's where it's going to be on a factor of about 1 to about 5 days later than what is typical. So just very slightly later than what is normal. Now, here for parts of the south central and the southeastern United States, this is where I'm expecting it to be earlier than normal. And that's for parts of, again, from parts of eastern Texas, eastern Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, westward or eastward into parts of western Georgia and into parts of Tennessee and western Florida there. So that's the area where I'm expecting it to be earlier than what is typical. Now, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.